Hello and welcome to Eye on the Arts. I am your host, Jane Frazier, and we are so thankful that you're here with us today during this crazy, adventurous year of COVID. Our guest for this episode is Stephanie Schmidt. Stephanie is the coordinator of voice within the music program here at Carroll, and she's also an incredible music director and performer. So we are so excited that you're here with us today, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. And we did not plan out our coordination of our outfits. We're just on the same wavelength there. So tell us a little bit about what you do here at Carroll and how you've had to maybe adapt that a little bit due to this crazy COVID year.
Sure. So I'm the coordinator of voice, as you said, which means I coordinate scheduling, master classes. I oversee general intake of new students, hiring other adjunct professors or instructors for the voice program. We do open houses, outreach to the community and local high schools, but I also teach applied voice lessons here. I have started a chamber group called Vocal Chamber Ensemble, which is a really great small chamber ensemble, which means a small group of instruments. And we have a variety of vocalists and different instrumentalists, which changes throughout each semester, depending on the types of students that we have. And we do a wide variety of repertoire from Baroque to Romantic to jazz and musical theater. We kind of do a little bit of everything with that ensemble. I also, as you said, have done the musical direction for our musical productions here at Carroll, which I absolutely love doing that. I've taught some of the keyboard skills classes in the past. I am not currently doing that. I've taken a break from doing that this semester. And then I'm also the chairperson of the Music Advisory Committee here at Carroll, which is a group that works on outreach. We assess what the music program is doing, what our short-term goals are, our long-term goals. So the Music Advisory Committee, we meet about once or twice a year, and we meet with other local colleges, local music industry professionals, and we kind of brainstorm what the modern music career is and how our program here at Carroll can prepare our students for that. So we discuss different classes, ensembles, what skills do they need? Are we giving those students the skills to be prepared to go out into the music industry?
That's great. And I'm sure with vocal training, you've had to adapt during COVID. As we know, singing produces more spittle, if you will, than even just talking. So what are some of the things that you've had to change as far as teaching voice?
Yeah, so with singing, it'll probably be the last thing to come back safely in person. There are ways to do it incredibly far away, but especially with voice, it makes more sense to meet on a virtual platform. Especially seeing a mask is not going to help me see anything that's happening with their faces. So it's just easier to do it, whether it be Zoom, MS Teams, FaceTime, whatever the students have. So actually for voice lessons, it has transferred over pretty seamlessly for the pandemic. On the ensembles, it's kind of hit or miss depending on the ensemble. It's definitely not the same as that in-person, close-knit musical experience where you really learn how to breathe together and perform together. But we try to make do and just make the best of it.
I will put this little plug in here. I've taken some private voice lessons with Stephanie. She's amazing. And everybody should take from her. This is my personal opinion. I've also worked with her on many musicals. And I guess not many, but we worked together on musicals. My very first year here, the shows were chosen for me. And so we were doing Rock of Ages, which everyone loves Rock of Ages. And I was like, I would not have necessarily have chosen that show. Like that is kind of not in my wheelhouse. And I ended up really having a great time working on that show for lots of different reasons. We had a lovely cast, but I wasn't sure. They're like, oh, and here's your music director. And it's such a personal choice, I think, with a director, right? That,
Mhm.
okay.
Right.
It's just so I like knew within like the first couple of weeks, I was like, okay, she gets it. She knows her stuff. We're going to work really well together. And then I think it just, you see that with how much, our students can grow through that process. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about what was your training like? Where did you go to college? All of that.
Sure. So I went to Montclair State University in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. Always plug that in. So I majored in vocal performance, which is a classical degree. So I've taken classical piano my entire life. So I was actually a pianist first. Um, and I was in the music education program because I initially wanted to be a choir teacher. And when I got to school, I said, oh, wow, there's so much more that I can do. And I really picked up on a lot of interests. I learned a lot about all the different genres of music that I hadn't known previously. I've got a lot of performing experience with different ensembles. And then I started taking some voice lessons while I was in college. And that was the first time I had ever done that. And I just fell in love with it right away. So I changed my instrument. I changed my major to performance. And then I decided to transfer schools. So it's kind of a lot that was happening during that time in my life. But I feel like I'm really, really grateful for that experience because it allows me to be very relatable to what our students go through at Carroll. The transfer process can be very confusing, it can be scary, it can be overwhelming. So I feel like I can really help students kind of navigate that path. But it was a very intense program, even though it was a state school. We had to take a year of German, a year of Italian, a year of French. You had to take so many different classes about the anatomy of singing, repertoire classes. You have to give recitals. You have weekly coachings and lessons and rehearsals. It's a very, very intense major for sure. But it was
similar to like conservatory training.
yeah. So I think state schools can sometimes get a bad rap, but it really just depends on the program that you go to and the professors you have at that particular school. And it's mostly boils down to what you make out of your education because you can very easily just kind of fade away into the background and do the bare minimum and get your degree, or you can take so many extra credits and every ensemble instrument, try to audition for every production or everything that's going on, and you can really learn and grow so much, which is what I did during my time there.
And you've performed on our stage before I was here. I didn't get to see it. Right? Was it
Yeah,
just Into the Woods?
that was my first
Okay.
musical that I performed in at Carroll. I had just moved to Maryland, I think the year before that, and I started performing just at local community theaters just to get my name out there because I don't know anyone in this area and just kind of network. And then I heard about Into the Woods and I got the role of Cinderella. And the director at the time said, hey, what do you do for a living? I said, oh, I'm a voice teacher, by the way. Oh, how about teaching here? So I interviewed and I got the job. So I've been here ever since. Yeah, so it's been really, really exciting.
Yeah, awesome. So I know you are the music director for our spring musical this year, and I know that at the time right now, as we're recording this, that you haven't started rehearsals and not even auditions yet. So, but is there anything that you can talk about with that show? It is called New Beginnings, a musical review. So, anything else that you want to mention maybe about that show?
Sure. I'm really excited to be a part of the production team for this, especially having been in lockdown. And I was recently, well, I'm still half on maternity leave. I'm kind of doing an extended maternity leave of sorts. So I'm really looking forward to get back into making some art, even though it'll be a virtual platform. But basically, New Beginnings, it's an authentic celebration of the human's experience and how we all grow through the beginnings and endings of different circumstances in life. But we will feature the talented members of the Carroll Community College and the surrounding community, and we really hope everyone will check it out.
Awesome. Do you have any advice for students interested in pursuing vocal performance or training or the arts in general?
So I would say first start out by reaching out and taking a couple of voice lessons and just have a teacher, whether it be me at the college, assess kind of where you're at vocally, and we can see what goals or what steps you need to take in order to pursue a career in music, whether that be going to a 2-year college, a 4-year college, or if you want to start right to performing. But either way, you want to build your technique and your foundation first. That's the most important thing. And a lot of times it can feel overwhelming because if you start late, it feels like I have so much catching up to do. And you do, you will have a lot of catching up to do, but singing is a lifelong thing. So even though you may be behind in terms of getting into a 4 or 2-year college, you have your entire life to build your technique. So there's not a rush in terms of your entire lifespan. The other thing I tell my students to ask themselves is, would you be content? Would your soul be fulfilled if you sang, if singing was your sole source of income? So that way you can really assess whether a career in the arts is for you, because it is not for the faint-hearted. It takes so much work. It takes so much drive and self-motivation, years and years of training. It's not impossible, but you have to really be passionate about it. You have to also be very flexible and creative in terms of seeking out work and the types of work in order to support yourself, because it is a tough business to support yourself, especially now in the pandemic. I think it's making it very easy to see. I mean, everyone's struggling now, but yeah, so I have my students just kind of think about that and just know you don't have to pursue a career in it to be fulfilled by it. You can take a minor, you can just study and do like community theater or sing in your church choir or at the local coffee house once it's safe again, all of those things.
Right.
But a career in music, you know, do you want to sing 8 shows a week and never see your family, or, you know, a 6-week cruise out, you know, doing shows and all that? So it's a lot different than people think. So I'd say research and just ask around.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today for this episode. I feel enlightened and empowered. I want to continue taking with you again. I want to maybe wait until we're through with the Zoom life normal, but I'm more visceral, but anyway. But it is fun. And I have to say that while I've done a lot of musicals and such myself, that singing is not something that, you know, I pursued specifically as a career, but it's something that I love to do and continue to do. And so it is that lifelong, you know, journey too, and you can still have fun with it and learn things. So it's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We do have some different arts events happening at Carroll Community College this spring for the music. There are several different Carroll concert series and student ensembles, and there's even more. And I think that's all starting pretty much in March. All of the music events will be live streamed. So you can go to carrollcc.edu/live stream. Or you can check out the music program that they have an Instagram account, and they will have all of the information on specific dates and times and who the artists are, all of that up there. And that is at Carroll CC Music. In the art world, fine art world, I do believe that we will have a gallery show. I think it starts in March, but for more information about that, you can contact Jessie Hardesty, and that's JHARDESTY at carrollcc.edu for more details. In CGR, our computer graphics program will continue to host their annual hackathon. This is a really cool event. And the hackathon this year will be held March 24th through the 28th. All registrations must be submitted by Monday, March 22nd. And there's a big long link that I'm hoping we can put up somewhere here for you. But you could also just Google search computer graphics or Carroll Community College Hackathon, and you'll find the information. And then in theater world, we will be offering virtually the musical New Beginnings, a musical review. And we're hoping at the end of April, that will be presented virtually. So if you check out, we have the Carroll Community College Theater Program Facebook page. If you check out our page, you will find information about the musical. Actually, you'll find information about everything happening in the theater. So it's really kind of something that you might want to get onto and like, and that way you'll get notifications, because we post about auditions, about events that you can watch either virtually or when we get back into the theater live. We also post about our classes and different things. And sometimes we even have, some little videos or some little pictures of some of the rehearsal process. So you kind of get to see how things are being developed. So you can check us out there. And we just thank you so much for continuing to celebrate the arts, even during this crazy time. And we hope that you are happy and well. Thank you so much. Bye.